It all started when my wife reconnected with her old friend, who had recently gone through a divorce. At first I thought it was a good thing. My wife seemed happier, more relaxed and excited to have someone to talk to. But soon I began noticing subtle changes. Her friend had a very negative view of marriage, and I could tell she was slowly planting ideas in my wife's head. The first real red flag came one evening when my wife casually brought up the concept of open marriages during dinner. She asked me what I thought about couples who explored relationships outside their marriage. I laughed it off, thinking she was joking, but she kept pushing the topic in the following weeks. Each time I told her I wasn't comfortable with it, but she brushed off my concerns as if I was being old-fashioned. Over time, she started spending more nights out, always claiming it was just girls' night with her divorced friend. I trusted her at first, but my gut started telling me something wasn't right. I would notice her being overly protective of her phone, smiling at late-night messages, and even dressing differently when she went out. The person I had known for years seemed to be slipping away from me. One night, I overheard part of her phone conversation. She was laughing and saying something about how freeing it felt not to be tied down. My heart sank because I knew she wasn't just talking about hanging out with friends. When I confronted her, she got defensive and told me her friend was the one encouraging her to live a little and stop being stuck in a boring marriage. It broke me to hear that she thought of our life that way. I had always believed we had a strong bond, but her words made it clear she was entertaining ideas that went against everything we had built. She admitted that her friend had told her to consider cheating if I didn't agree to an open marriage. I felt betrayed, not just by her but by the fact she valued her friend's toxic advice more than my feelings. Soon enough, my suspicions were confirmed. I caught her sneaking back into the house late at night, and when I confronted her, she finally admitted she had been seeing someone else. She insisted it wasn't serious, just an experiment, as if that made it any less painful. I was shattered. The trust was gone and no excuse could fix that. The final blow came a few weeks later, when she sat me down and told me she was pregnant. The timing made it impossible for me to ignore the truth. It likely wasn't mine. My world crashed in that moment. She cried, saying she wasn't sure who the father was, and that she never meant for things to get this far. But intentions didn't matter. The damage was already done. Her friend, the one who pushed her into this path, was nowhere to be found. She had destroyed her own marriage and left mine in ruins too. My wife tried to shift some blame onto her, saying she wouldn't have done any of this without the encouragement. But I reminded her that no one forced her. She made those choices herself. I began to emotionally distance myself from her. Nights were filled with silence, and every time I looked at her, I felt anger and betrayal boiling inside me. I kept replaying everything in my head. How we used to dream of having kids. How we promised to always trust each other. All of that had turned into a nightmare. Family and friends noticed something was wrong, and eventually I couldn't keep the truth to myself anymore. Some tried to comfort me, while others encouraged me to leave her. Deep down, I knew they were right. But I wasn't ready to make such a decision while my emotions were still raw. The pregnancy only made things more complicated. She wanted me to stand by her, regardless of who the father was, but I couldn't wrap my head around raising another man's child. Every time I thought about it, it felt like salt being poured into an open wound. In the end, I realized that love and trust had been broken beyond repair. I could forgive many things, but not betrayal on this scale. I told her I wanted a divorce. She cried, begged, and blamed her friend again, but my heart was done. I couldn't live in a marriage where loyalty meant nothing. Now I'm moving forward piece by piece, learning to heal from the betrayal. It's painful, but I know I deserve better than someone who let another person convince her to destroy our marriage. The child may be innocent in all this, but the choices that led here were hers, and I refuse to carry the weight of her mistakes any longer. I have started focusing on myself again, building a new life without the constant fear of lies and betrayal. It hurts to let go of the years we shared, but I've realized that holding on to a broken marriage would only keep me trapped in misery. Slowly, I am regaining my confidence and finding peace. As for my wife, she is left to deal with the consequences of her choices, and maybe someday she will realize the damage she caused. But by then it will be too late. I am done being the man who suffers for her mistakes. I am finally free.